perfect A-level scores used to guarantee a spot in law school. Today, a massive influx of 15-point candidates means top grades are just the baseline. To handle this volume of highly qualified applicants, the University of Zimbabwe introduced a strict filtering mechanism, mandatory psychometric testing, and oral interviews. As you can see in the Faculty of Law section of this official admissions document, this screening is now a formal requirement for the LLBS program. We are going to map out the exact steps to clear both the written exam and the interview panel, from what you need to study to how you should structure your answers. Understanding the logic behind these tests removes the mystery. Once you know what the panel is actually measuring, you can turn a rigid barrier into a distinct competitive advantage. When preparing for the written test, most applicants make the mistake of memorizing the Constitution or reading up on historical legal precedents. But the qualification exam focuses on a specific metric, verbal critical reasoning. This is an aptitude test that measures your ability to understand, interpret, and logically evaluate written arguments. The examiners want to see if you can analyze facts, manipulate complex information, and reach objective judgments without relying on any outside knowledge. This diagram shows the standard structure of a verbal critical reasoning question. You evaluate a text block by choosing one of three pathways: true, false, or cannot say. Notice how the false pathway traces directly back to a specific sentence. You must analyze exactly why your logic failed. The written exam does not care what you already know about the law. It tests whether your brain processes complex, ambiguous information the way a lawyer's brain must. If you clear the written test, you move to the oral interview. The panel isn't trying to trap you with trick questions. Their prompts are actually quite straightforward. They are evaluating you on three hidden metrics: your communication skills, your problem-solving abilities, and your underlying thought process. Nervousness causes many candidates to fail here. They start rambling and overcomplicate their answers, trying to sound academic. Looking at this split-screen graphic, you can see the difference. On the left is the overthinker, a tangled knot of disjointed ideas. On the right is what the panel wants, a single straight vector moving directly from point A to point B. The golden rule for the UZ interview is to get straight to the point. Answer the specific question asked without any excessive preamble. The panel evaluates how you structure and deliver your answer as heavily as what you say. In the legal profession, clarity equals competence. You can minimize on-the-spot thinking by pre-planning your answers for the three most common interview scenarios. Scenario A is the role model. As you look at these lawyers gathered outside the constitutional court, think about a legal professional whose values align with yours and prepare to explain why you admire them. Scenario B covers the Constitution. Applicants often freeze here, but the panel only expects basic, surface-level knowledge delivered clearly. Look closely at this physical copy of the Constitution of Zimbabwe. You must memorize a brief provision and explain its meaning in plain English. Scenario C is career alignment. Whether your long-term goal is to argue cases in the High Court of Zimbabwe, shown here, or work in corporate law, you need to clearly link your career aspirations directly to studying at UZ. Preloading your responses for these three foundational topics frees up your cognitive bandwidth in the room. Instead of panicked recall, you project calm authority. When you finally sit in the interview chair, your primary job is to maintain your composure, think critically, and avoid rushing. Beware of the overthinking trap. This is the moment a candidate stares at the ceiling in silence, trying to formulate a flawless response before speaking. Taking a natural breath and pausing is always better for your score than a forced, immediate, rambling start. This is your blueprint for success. Prioritize critical reasoning practice, commit to direct communication, and prepare your three scenarios. Your next step is to find free verbal reasoning tests online today. Once you finish a set, begin drafting your answers for the big three scenarios immediately. Ultimately, this screening process filters for preparation and composure. Matching strict preparation with a calm demeanor demonstrates the professional standard required to stand out and secure your place.